please welcome to Bryce Stanley, everybody, please.
All right, keep it going for almost Patrick Mahomes there. All right. Exciting. My name's Bryce Stanley. My wife and I, we got into an argument a while back. She thought I should sleep naked. And I was like, no, we're not gonna do that. She's like, why not? And I said, I got pretty good reasons why I'm not gonna sleep naked. Reason number one, I don't think it's what's best for our sheets. I don't care what the thread count is. This rolling around on it's going to void the warranty. Reason number two, I'm not sleeping naked. What if there's a fire? Yeah, now I'm out in the yard doing a weenie roast for the neighbors. End up getting arrested. It's got to be a misdemeanor at least. Missed a wiener if I get too close to the house. And reason number three, and most importantly, and you guys in here know what I'm getting ready to say, what if someone breaks in the house and I got to fight them? Because I've seen enough TV to know there's going to be martial arts involved. Rule one of Kung Fu, put on some pants. I don't need something dangling while I'm spin kicking around the living room. That's how vases get broken. And then worse, like, what if he brings a weapon? You know? Now I'm the jackass that brought a little Smokey to a knife fight. That's not going to end well. Probably worst case if he brings a gun. You know? I'm pretty sure nobody breaks into my house planning on shooting somebody in the willy. But when I come busting out of the bedroom, it's probably going to cross his mind. So that's it. That's my evidence. I rest my case. That's why I'm not sleeping naked. And she's like, if you sleep naked, I'll let you touch my boobs. And I'm like, naked it is. She was so convincing. So my name's Bryce Stanley. I'm from a small town in southwest Missouri named after a famous explorer, Simon Bolivar. Yeah, but it's southwest Missouri, so I grew up in Bolivar. So, yeah, if you've been there, we had to dumb it down a little for the locals. But one of my favorite parts of being from Bolivar is that our mascot is a liberator, and nobody knows what a liberator is. I found when I get outside of that area, people aren't as cultured as they are in Bolivar. So I get to explain to them what a liberator is, and I like to explain to them using other obscure mascots that they might not know either. So they're like, what's a liberator? And I'm like, it's like a crusader with a longer sword. And they're like, what's a crusader? And I'm like, whoo, this is going to take a while. Crusader's like a conquistador without the fancy helmet. And they're like, conquistador? And I'm like, that was a big word. Let's see. Conquistador's kind of like a lancer without a cape. And they're like, I don't really know what a lancer is. Like, let's try a different direction here. Do you know what a commodore is? It's like, does it have anything to do with Lionel Richie? And I was like, kind of, but I was thinking more Vanderbilt than Motown. Do you know what a commander is? He's like, it's the same as a redskin, isn't it? And I was like, I know what you're saying, but I don't think you're supposed to be saying it. It's like, you know what a horseman is? And it's like, headless horseman? I'm like, no, I said he was wearing a helmet earlier. He's got a head. It's like, oh, like the half man, half horse with the bow and arrow. And I'm like, that is a centaur. Nobody's mascot's a centaur. It'd take 2 cheerleaders to pull that off. Nobody's doing that. He's like, so it's just a dude on a horse with a bow and arrow. And I was like, nah, that'd be a marksman. Unless he got off the horse, then he'd be an archer. You know? And I'm like, I'll just make it as clear as I can, man. It's like a Trojan without the little broom on his head. Like a Spartan without all the body gear. Like a rebel with a little better game plan. Like a Seminole, only more South American than Native American, like a colonel without the white suit and the fried chicken. Like, is that? And finally, they're just like, so it's just a dude on a horse with a cape and a sword, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, why didn't you just say that to start with? And I'm like, well, it's not the Liberator way. I got remarried 3 years ago, so thank you. Yeah, working on that. But I did something a little different this time. I kind of married a cougar. Yeah, married an older woman, and it's pretty exciting. It's a little different. She doesn't like me calling her a cougar. Like she's always trying to downplay it. Like, I'm not that much older than you, and like it's no big deal, and you know, we were born the same year, blah blah blah. And I gotta let her know. I'm like, yep, but you were born in February, and I wasn't born till late September. Pretty big gap. You've seen a newborn next to a 7-month-old, pretty big difference. And I feel like as the younger one, I'm the one that needs to bridge that generation gap. Like, I feel like I'm the one, like I should get to know what it was like when she was a child. So I'll ask questions, you know, I'm like, hey, when's the first time you remember seeing an automobile? Did they have TV when you were a kid? You know? Do you remember where you were when Kennedy was assassinated? No? Lincoln? I don't know how old you are. And she'll finally just get pissed off, and she'll just be like, listen, we graduated from high school together, you dipshit. And I'm like, angry cougar. But she's different. Like, we're pretty different, I think. I don't know. Part of it's probably the generation gap. But she's like full speed. She's like 100%, and she barely sleeps. So she's like 20 hours a day. She's going at it. I wake up about 70%, taper off fairly hard from there. She gets quite a bit more done in a day. Plus, that's her favorite thing to do is do projects. She loves getting projects done. And she likes to get them done like early in the day, so later in the day she can kind of kick back and come up with more projects. She tries to trick me into getting my projects done early. She's like, you should do that this morning, get that off your plate. Plate? I don't have the heart to tell her, I don't have a plate. There's nothing on my plate, nothing on my radar, nothing's coming down my pipe. I let the world come to me. That's the way I live. I'm like a blind guy playing dodgeball. I really don't do anything till I get hit. It's been years since I've done anything you could even consider premeditated. But we're like different. Like she'll do, like we'll pull into a gas station to get a drink and she'll be like, why don't we just top it off while we're here? I'm like, there's a light that tells us when we need to get gas. Let's use the technology. That's what my generation does. Plus, I spent a few years as a single comedian before we got together, so I don't exactly have top it off kind of money. Thing with top it off kind of money, though, is even if you don't have it, you still put top it off amounts of gas in. You're still like, give me $4.50 on pump 7. So, guess we're similar that way. She'll do stuff like we'll get a bill in the mail. We live in a small town, and she'll just like get the bill, like get the checkbook out, write a check, and then go deliver it and pay it that day. And I like to figure out which ones will send a second notice. That's how I live. So she'll be like, I got the electric bill paid, and I'm like, I don't think that's even due yet. But she keeps the house like crazy. Like she's up enough. She keeps the house looking good. Like she's really good with that. I am kind of spoiled that way. We got married. Like when I started coming home from work when we first got married. I'd hit the door, and she'd be like, man, I want to get those clothes off of you. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. What are you gonna do to me? And she's like, I just need to start a load of laundry. I was like, that's not as much fun as I was thinking. But I finally figured out like why she keeps the house so good. Because back when she was a kid, they had this thing, and if you're under 30, you're gonna think I'm making this up. But this is true. They had this thing back then called company. Yeah. Some of you may have heard of this. But like you'd be like a family, just be sitting around like on a Friday night, just, whittling and making their own clothes or whatever. And the doorbell rang. Now today when the doorbell rings, you can look at your phone and go, oh, it's just the Amazon guy. Or if you're poor like me, you can peek out the front window and like, okay, I'm not. But you're not going to answer the door. There could be a psycho out there. There's no need to answer the door. But back then, they did. They just put down their cigarette and answered the door. I know. You're thinking this can't be true if you're young. And I'm like, I'm telling you, my wife and both my grandpas told me stories about this. It used to happen. And you'd answer the door, and there'd just be like 2 or 3 of your friends standing out there. And they're like, what are you doing? And they're like, we just figured we'd come over and hang out at your house tonight. If that happened today, you'd have questions. Are you running from the law? Why didn't you just FaceTime me? How'd you find out where we live? But not back then. They'd just be like, come on in, let's play some cards and eat pie. That's the way they did it. Oh, man. Got grandkids now. Married into that. That's cool. I got 3 grandkids. One's just like a month old, and then the oldest one, he's like at that age where they start playing like all the sports, which nowadays is like 4. So yeah, he's 4. He's played 2 seasons of baseball, 2 seasons of soccer, and 1 season of basketball already. So, and for the most part, they're all pretty horrible to watch. When he's playing basketball, I'm like, there's no way those 4-year-olds can dribble a basketball. And it turns out they don't have to. They just run around with the basketball. Like Travolta in Grease, when he's learned how to, and he's just got the ball, and he's like fighting. It's just like a bunch of dudes that tall doing that. My favorite's baseball. That's the most fun one to watch. Mostly because I grew up playing baseball and stuff. There's some advantage. You're outside, so that's always nice. I like the fact that your mom can stand right beside you the entire game. I think that's a huge advantage. Baseball's good I think it's the best for yelling out terms that the kids have no idea what they mean and acting like they should know what you mean. Just the whole game. It's just like, throw it to first, run to first, choke up. We're batting now. Hit your cutoff man. You're playing shortstop. And the kids have no idea what any of those words mean. And it's just fun to watch their faces. So. The other thing I like, though, about baseball is like you get to see all the different age groups showing up at the park. So, and it's like crazy watching these kids show up now because they got like all fancy like matching uniforms and logo hat and everything, and their spikes matching. They got like a team name, like the Thumpers or something. If you don't know what a thumper is, it's like a jackalope. And then on their back, they got these, like every kid's got this little backpack. Have you guys seen these backpacks? And they got like 2 like $300 baseball bats hanging out of them. And then like they hang it on the fence, and then they just start pulling out like $300 pairs of Oakleys. And they got like those sliding mittens, batting gloves. They got those little shin things they put when they bat in case they like foul off one of those 35-mile-an-hour fastballs. They'll still be able to walk. So. But they show up like that. That's not what we did. And back in the day, we showed up with our glove, and then everything we needed was in one bag. And it was from Vietnam. It's a big green army bag, and every team had one. If you were the coach and you had the Army bag, that's a Medal of Honor. You can be proud of that. Unless your team sucked, and then sometimes the doorbell would ring and there'd be a big green bag on your porch. Like, what's that, Dad? And it's like, looks like I'm your coach now. But that bag had everything we needed. You know, had one handle, one strap. You'd go to the end of the dugout, undo the one little latch, and then you'd turn it over and shake it out, and a whole baseball game would come out of there. Had everything. Had the catching gear, had the shin guards, had the chest protectors. But back then they were the ones that like looped down between your legs. And then when you'd bend down, it'd just pop up in your face. Had to do that the whole game. Had like a catcher's mask. It always kind of smelled like sweat and cigarettes for some reason. Back then, like the catcher's mitts looked like kind of like a leather, like a throw pillow. You couldn't really tell like where the ball was supposed to go in there. You just give it to some kid and hope he could catch it. We were pretty smart back then, though. We realized you didn't need, everybody doesn't need their own batting helmet. Yeah? Bases loaded, that's 3, and the batter, 4. You need 4 batting helmets. So most of the Vietnam bags had 3 batting helmets in them. You get bases loaded, somebody's going to have to risk CTE, but that's the chances we took. There's always a couple kids on the team and like, it probably won't affect him a whole lot. There's always like 4 or 5 bats in there, but all the kids only used 1 bat. Because there was like a rumor that Tony had hit one over the fence with it 4 years ago. Like, that's the bat right there. And then we didn't show up like with fancy uniform on either. We showed up, we weren't playing for teams like the Thumpers. We were playing for the business that had bought that shirt 6 years ago. We played for Superior Tile and Carpet. We were your marketing budget at work. That's what we did. It is always exciting. The other thing too I noticed is after the game now, these kids, they all go to like get ice cream. Their parents take them to get ice cream, and I'm like, what is this? This is not what we did. One of the dads would pack a cooler, and we'd go out and stand around a conversion van, drink sugar like we were kings. That's what we did. It was always a big deal when your dad was the one bringing the soda, because like there's 2 options of what can be in that cooler. You can have like Coke and Sprite, the name brand stuff, or there can be that off-brand stuff. You know, the Vest sodas, the Sam's Choice before he even started choosing. You reach in there, it's got cola, lemon lime drink in there. You might reach in and grab out a fruit, like grape or something. Like I didn't even know that was a soda. Might even get a fake fruit, like black cherry. I don't even think that's real. Catch you a cream soda. Nobody even really knows what cream soda is. Get one of them. Some kid's going to find out they don't like ginger ale tonight. That's how it worked. Because this was back in the day. You open it, you drink it. That's the rule. So, and as a kid, like, you thought it was pretty important what your dad brought in that cooler. Like, this is going to change your life. When you're that age, you're like, if my dad, my hero, father of my family, has put Coke and Sprite in there, I'm going to have a pretty good life. Probably going to go to a good college. Marry a beautiful woman, have successful kids. Probably some tax breaks involved. I don't know. This is going to be, it's going to be good. But if that deadbeat, good for nothing, why is my mom still with him? Because fill that thing with off-brand soda, you're in trouble. You're going back to 4th grade with the cooties, I can guarantee you that. That rumor's out there already. You know? Will you graduate high school? Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. No guarantees. Probably go bald at the age of 20. Transmission will go out at 40,000 miles. Like, I don't know. It's just going to be, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. So when my dad brought the drinks the first time, I was like, I didn't know until he was pulling the Vietnam bag out of the back of the van. And I saw the cooler, and I'm like, did you bring the drinks, Dad? And he's like, yeah, I brought the drinks. And I was like, okay. And I was nervous. I played terrible that game because I couldn't think of anything about, like, I didn't know what the future of my life was going to be like. And I'm out here trying to play shortstop. It's like crazy. And we get done, and it seemed like it took forever. We go out to the parking lot, and we pop the back of that van open. He pulls that cooler through all the empty beer cans. And I won't tell you what was in there, but a whole covey of doves come flying out of the back of that conversion van when he opened that thing. Yeah, Sweet Home Alabama started playing somewhere. There's a small fireworks show going off. The girls were kissing me for some reason. He did it. What I'm saying is he did it. Coke and Sprite in there. That was a big day for me. Yes, you can cheer for it. You can cheer for it. I got accepted to the University of Missouri that day. I actually booked this gig that day, that night. They called me and asked me if I wanted to do this club show. I love it. It was, and I always remember that. And I think my dad always remembered it too, mainly because that was the first time I ever told him I loved him. So I've gotten to the point in my comedy career, a lot of times after shows, I'll spend like 30 minutes or an hour just signing autographs. And I don't mind doing that, but now I got a whole backpack full of autographs I need to get rid of. If anybody's interested. I do have some souvenirs. I'll be out in the lobby when we leave. But I got these cool lighters. They say Bryce Stanley Comedy on them. And if you look close, there's a bottle opener on the other end. Yeah. So if you get a lighter, free bottle opener. Anybody that just wants a bottle opener, comes with a free lighter. They're attached. Yeah. And then I got koozies for my album. Working through some stuff. That's the name of my album. You can find it. It's like everywhere. It's on I got it out on like Spotify and iTunes and Amazon and Tinder. I'm really trying to get it out there. So, but yeah, go give it a listen. It's got a lot of stuff you didn't hear tonight. But I just got a hat, and you can just put whatever you want in the hat. It's kind of a donation kind of thing. Mostly because I don't want to do math. So, but yeah, just throw some in the hat. If you grab a lighter and take off running, I'm in no shape to chase you down. Send up with a free lighter. Guilty conscience and a bottle opener. Take Venmo too. If you need that. Is it weird that you can like other people's Venmo payments? Isn't that weird? Like if you buy like a shirt from me or something, like that makes sense. But like if you're sending her $40 for Halloween decorations, it's a little weird. I can sit on the sideline and go, I like that. Sure like to see some more of that. Alright, I'll be out there though. Getting older, I've been going to all the chiropractors in my hometown. I don't know. Like I go to all of them. I don't tell them about each other because I want them to all feel special. But they all do something different. But I was at this one and I was like laying on my back and he looks and like apparently one of my legs was like shorter or something. So he's like, hang that right leg off the edge of the table. So I do, and then he does one of these numbers. Saddles up on it. And like he takes my ankle and like sticks it in between his thighs and tightens down the thigh strips. And I was like, uh-oh. Then he starts slowly moving his hips back and forth. And I'm like, I'm willing to have one leg shorter if this is how we fix it. And he's like just looking at me. He's like having a conversation with me like he's not golden retrievering my leg. And then pretty soon he just jerks back like he didn't want to get my shin pregnant. I go slide, I hear a pop, and I'm like, oh, man, oh, that worked. I gotta see that guy more often. My wife's always at the chiropractor too. Hers is her neck. It gives her trouble. She's got one chiropractor that does something. He's got something he can do, and it like decompresses something way up high here that nobody else can do. She's like, it's the most amazing feeling I've ever felt. And I was like, that's not what you said on our honeymoon. But it got me thinking. Do you think back in the Wild West when they hung people that just for a split second it felt really good? Probably not worth it, but maybe it might be good. But like that chiropractor, he likes to go on long vacation, so he was gone for like 2 months, and her neck was just killing her, and she kept just complaining. She's like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, why don't you lay there on the bed, hang your head off the edge of the bed. I got an idea. All right, guys, that's my time. I'm Bryce Stanley. I appreciate you.